Hello. What's today again? Thursday? It is Thursday. don't ask me why. I said that like I was in like utter amazement, like, wow, it's Thursday. Perfect French. No. Because I would not be able to read it at all if I do French. Hello, Ali. I'm guessing you were chilling in chat until I started or something. Anyway, today is day 4 of Choose Wisely Festival, and we are playing Imperial Grace. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Because like I said, I did, suggestive content. Hold on, how suggestive is it, though? That's the real question. How suggestive is it? Because, like, I don't particularly care. But Twitch does. I guess all this should be fine. Just doing things for work while sitting in chat. Wow, you're a real one. Sitting in chat. I remember my days of sitting in chat when waiting for like a streamer to start. Those were fun times. I hope that one day I'll have a chat like that too. Well, I just hope that the suggestive stuff isn't very explicit. Okay, let's start. Intended for mature audience. Contains themes that could offend the sensitivity of younger players. Oh, complete list. Well, I might as well go look at the list and just inform you guys of what it is. So they said it's on the store page. Oh, I see. I'm guessing this is it. So, fantasy violence, common in medieval times, assassination, disease, war, sexism, etc. Don't know what the etc. is, but I'm guessing whatever kind of bullshit went on in medieval times. Ooh, sorry. Choking on my goddamn saliva. So I just took a look at the love interests, and I think I might just be better off being single. I don't mean that in a bad way, it's just... Okay, maybe I have to give it a little time. Maybe I have to get to know them. Okay, maybe that's it. Maybe that's what it is. To be fair, my chat app is always open, so I'm always sitting in chat. Oh. I think I could pull up the Steam window so you guys can see our options. Okay, so first we have Alexander here, who's the devoted general, born an illegitimate son, has to prove his worth in time again, until his remarkable skills led him to the Kaladin army? I think that's Kaladin. Okay. So a person who's... Okay. And then we have Asha, an ambassador. A friendly woman who can never refuse good food or fine wine. Honestly, that's so based. Good food is good food. Although some frown upon her presence in the palace, her educated intelligence and keen gifts of observation soon make her an asset to everyone she cares about. Okay, that's good. We definitely want somebody like that in our pocket, but we also have to be careful. Because she's so intelligent, she might just, decide she wants to backstab us. And then we had this guy. Let's see, Theodore, heir of the Harem Duchy. Theodore has very close bonds with his family, and like most of them, he is cold, distant, and disciplined. Making him smell as a tall order, especially for you. He hates your family and the court, and he only joins the political game to restore his family's honor. Okay, well, I already know who I'm not picking. Like, man, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting there saying I don't like characters who make you work for it, But, man, I just know he's gonna be an absolute douchebag. Let's see, you're going to play a demo version of the game, thus the content might be subject to change, and some features may be missing, such as the diplomacy feature. Didn't read the features, so okay. I think that's fine, fair, whatever, what have you. Since it is my first time playing, obviously, show me the tips. Anywhere on the screen to progress the story? Okay, that's okay. Sure? Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So, this is a good tip. Check my resources from the extra menu at any time. I love how 6 is normal mode or story mode. Well, hold on. Let me go back to the Steam page. Okay, so I think that's what it is. Okay. So they're having to choose between normal and story. So story is the one where it says enjoy the story with infinite resources. And normal is the spice up your game by wisely managing your kingdom's resources, making each choice even more difficult. Okay. None of these characters seem particularly interesting to me, but we'll see, I guess. That's what I'm saying, like... Hold on. Sorry, I had to sneeze, but that's exactly what I'm saying, like... blah, blah, blah. Speaking of, characters that don't seem particularly interesting, so I was playing Will-O-Wisp last night. Part of why I woke up so late. Because I was like, okay, I probably won't come back to it on stream, but I did want to finish it anyway. So, yeah, I finished Will-O-Wisp last night. For those who don't know, Will-O-Wisp, I've shortened it from the Will-O-Wisp Emporium of Antiques and Curiosities. Again, it's such a long name, so I'm just calling it Will-O-Wisp. So I finished it last night, the demo. I will say I did not get to pay my bill. But it also didn't matter because the demo basically ends at the end of day 7. So I really didn't have to worry about my bill. But come full game, I actually probably will have to. Anyways. So like I was telling myself last night, it's like I do think that with all the characters that we had met, even though we you guys didn't get to meet Eden, but I mean, I'm pretty sure unless you guys like the flirty teasing kind of character, then you really didn't miss out on much, because that's exactly who Eden is. And I don't like I said, flirty, serial flirts, playboys, fuckboy characters, those are the ones I dislike the most. Like, just right off the bat. Like, you could probably write them really good, but I'll probably still not like them because of that stereotype that they have. So, I just instantly already disliked Eden. So, so yeah, I think, and then after where we left off in the stream, we got to know more about these people's stories. So we did do Lucille's on stream, but everybody else's was off stream. So like Florian, oh yeah, you guys didn't actually get to formally meet the ghost girl. Well, I just spoiled it. But so you know how we like saw like glimpses of somebody in our room? So it turns out that was a ghost, and her name is Winona, but she prefers Winnie. And her thing is that she wants to become an idol. But another thing about her is that she doesn't remember anything. So I was like, okay, maybe that's like a side effect of being dead. Maybe. And then, so basically I was saying we got those stories about like Winnie's story, kind of, Florian, Emmett, and Eden too. But, you know, getting to the point that I was trying to make, because I just realized, I was like, I'm rambling on and on about not the point I was trying to make. I'm sorry, guys. I can't stop that from happening. I'm so sorry. I just ramble. But basically my point is, I got to know them. You guys got to know some of them. I'm sorry that you guys didn't get to meet Winnie and Eden and the person I'm about to tell you about. But yeah, and it's like, I like them. I think they're nice characters, but especially after like getting to know like their little individual like first event stories, nothing really clicked for me. It's like, okay, you know, it's like, sure, maybe, but like, I don't really feel sold on you. And then getting to the point, just when the demo was about to end, we meet somebody new. And I took one look at him, and I said, that's the one. That is the one. So, it's like sometimes maybe you just kind of have to like wait. Well, in this case, even though I barely got to know him, because like I said, he came like literally right at the end of the demo. So basically all I know is his name, what he looks like, and that he's probably a bad guy. But who knows, maybe I might end up liking Florian a lot more than the new guy that came up. And that would be because, like, you know, I got to know him more and stuff like that. So basically, even though sometimes you may not click right away just from like reading and looking at like their sprite, sometimes you end up developing the feelings later on. Like, oh, that man, why did he oh my god, I just realized I had like a perfect scenario that was just like this. So yeah, so I was a teenage ex-colonist, and I took a look at everybody that could potentially be your love interest, and I'm like, I mean, okay, they all look like I said, kind of like the same people with Wilhelmus. They all look nice, they all are friendly, and I think I could get to, you know, like them as friends and stuff like that. But none of them just stood out to me where I was like, oh yeah, I definitely want you to be my love interest. But then, you know, as I started to play the game more, ex-colonist, not Wilhelmus, I actually started liking a character a lot more after going like through their story and stuff like that. And I was like, oh shit, damn, wait, wait, I think I actually like you a lot. So it's like the sheer fact that I went from like, okay, you know, I'll just go with the flow, see what happens, to, you know what? I will literally kill everybody here if anything happens to you. So sometimes it just takes a little bit, you know? It just takes a little bit before you can actually get into anything. I mean, it just takes a little bit before you can, like, actually like a character. That's what I meant. Anyway, ramble over. Let me actually pick a fucking mode. I do feel like we should do normal because it does show off like the resource management that they have included and how, but it's also like I don't know, because it's like if I run out of resources, then at some point we probably can't continue the story. And I do like want to actually like show off the story, so you know what, I guess I'll just do story mode. It'll feel gross, you know, doing it this way, but like I said, I don't want to import. But yeah, as I was saying, I don't want us to miss out on any potential like story stuff. Alright, so blessed by Basan. You have loved fighting since you were a child. Although you are not allowed on the battlefield, you are excellent in physical shape. No, you are in excellent physical shape, and your swordsmanship rivals that of man. Starting bonus in army. Okay, then blessed by Amatera. When you were younger, you almost became a scholar. Your love of reading and learning has given you knowledge in many fields, including astronomy, theology, and botany. Starting bonus in religion. Blessed by Horrell. I think it's Horrell. You have mastered the art of diplomacy and eloquence. You can improvise inspiring speeches in an instant, and you know the first names of every noble over 3 generations. Starting bonus in influence, and blessed by my raid? No, not raid. My raid. Myrid? Something like that. Numbers and resources management hold no secrets for you, and you have excellent relations with merchants and are good at mental arithmetic and know all the subtleties of tithes and other taxes, not only from Khalidia, but also from your neighbors. I don't know if I want to go with the army or money. But the thing is like, we have infinite resources, so I would assume that would include money. So I guess we'll just go with the army. Oh my, look at me. I could be whoever I want to be. Ah. Okay, the hair type contrary to the hairstyle cannot be modified during the game and will be taken into account during illustrations. It's fair. Wow. Why don't we look at everything that they have? my god, it's so curly. Sorry, I'm just trying to like find a style that I like. I think I might go with maybe this one, yeah. You know what? I think the eye color's fine. I think we're good. Look at our Empress. Let's see, customizations on the screen will not be reflected in the illustrations. The match options adapts your outfit to the illustration, not the other way around. To change your outfit during the game, click on extra outfit. Ooh. Wow, these are actually really pretty. Wow. They put in a lot of effort. I think casual's fine though. Oh, you can choose a different casual. Oh my. Oh, oh my god, there's another there's another side. I'm sorry. Oh wow. Ooh. Oh, okay. I'm guessing this goes for whatchamacallit, all of them, because I see the fight outfit here. Oh, I like this one though. It's really pretty. Oh my god, you can even pick jewelry. Yes. I'm sorry. It's like if you give me character customization, I'm going to play the heck out of it. I'm going to look at each and every possibility. Okay, maybe not each and every possibility, especially if there's like a color wheel, but you know what I mean. Oh, after coordination. I see. Yeah, I think this one would be better for like a fight outfit though, if I'm going to be honest. Because the other one might snag easier. Alright, I think we're good here. I'm trying to sleep. But I also want to eat my lunch, so I can't read right now. But goddamn, decks are small. Not my dad. Damn. Rest in peace, Dad. But wait, why would they only attack my father, though? Like, wouldn't it make sense to come after me, too? Really? Magnus? She said, oh, fuck my dad. I'm glad he's dead. Damn, girl. Sorry, like I said, I'm trying to eat my lunch. I can't read. They said, you can rejoice at your father's death. That's, oh my god. I genuinely want to know if anybody has actually rejoiced at their father's death. I need to know. Um, Neutral. Oh god, what's the delicate question? Oh god. Uh, bro. You think I did a... Sir. Sir. I may have hated him, but it's like, yeah, I hated him. To literally hire somebody to kill him? Nah, man. If I wanted to kill him, I'd just do it myself. Damn! Imagine being killed 2 days before your birthday. That's kind of sad. Man, you're so lucky I can't just like fire you outright for even daring to question that I would have my father killed. Hmm. What is the difference, though, between yes, I've always wanted to become empress, empress, and yes, it's my destiny? Like, what is the difference between these? Because aren't they essentially both saying the same thing? Okay, I guess maybe. Well, that makes it seem more like you're begrudgingly accepting it. I was about to say that. I was about to say that, yeah. Because we're like, yeah, it's my destiny. And that usually is like, that can be taken like either way. Like, people who are like very, like, well, I won't say very religious, but like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, there's the other side where it's like, I believe in like fate and destiny and stuff like that, and this was destined for me and stuff like that. But then, yeah, there's also the point that you made, where it can sound more like begrudgingly. You know what? I'll just say I've always wanted to. Just make it simple. Because there's too much nuance here. Because this one's pretty clear cut and dry. Like, yeah, I wanted to. But this one could be like, I guess it's my destiny, or it is my destiny, and I'm going to fulfill that destiny. Alright, I think I've eaten enough. I do feel full. I nodded vigorously and didn't skip a beat before answering. Yes, my father doesn't have a direct heir. I doubt the court will accept his bastards, and he hasn't remarried since my brother's death. Okay, what happened to her brother? Because they said that she blames her brother's death on her father. So what the fuck happened there? Like, were they like, sparring with each other and like, he got stabbed or something? Like, what happened? I've been preparing for this role for a long time. The day simply came earlier than I planned. I'm sorry. I still can't with the fact that it said you want to rejoice at your father's death. Like, even if it's somebody I hate, I don't think I'd sit there and like rejoice at their death. At least not openly. Maybe I'd do like a little finally, but I wouldn't sit there and be like popping out the streamers and shit. There are many things I didn't agree with when my father ruled. Only time will tell, but I think I'll be a good empress. His words were barely a whisper, but I was sure of what I heard, and I felt my cheeks redden a little. He seemed embarrassed by his own boldness and blushed more violently than me, while I flashed him a smile to reassure him. It had been years since I last heard him call me by my name. Even if I had no doubts about my own abilities, it was always refreshing to see the trust he gave me. I cleared my throat and regained my composure so I could give my orders. This would be a long night. Who else knows about the assassination for now? Alexander seemed surprised by my question and frowned a bit while searching his mind. How about the guards who were stationed before my father's door? Ooh, damn. Rip guards. So the maid lived, but the guards did not. Weird, but okay. I paced the room, lost deep in thought. You've done well. Now we have to keep it all a secret. It's imperative that no one else hears about it. Obviously, we won't be able to do that forever. I only need a few days so I can stay ahead of my detractors. Oh, is it Alden? I think it is Alden. Okay. Because I wasn't sure. I'm like, did they accidentally like capitalize an I? Alden looked thoughtful for a few moments, then he nodded. Exactly. That's what I was thinking too. I'd love it if the situation was more straightforward, but this was a little white lie. And the alternative is the chaos of a wildly disputed succession. Alden nodded and I continued, developing the rest of my plan. In the meantime, pretend that His Majesty is not feeling well and investigate discreetly. He's right though. They do love their gossip because it's like working here is boring sometimes. I don't know. Yeah. Think about that, Alexander. Think about it. His teeth clenched, his hand gripping the hilt of his sword. Alexander shook his head. The weight of Alden's words had also fallen heavily on my shoulders, and I observed both men while contemplating my next steps. I mean, I don't want to kill people. I do not want to kill people. Can we just, like, confine them to, like, the dungeons permanently? Until this all blows over? Alden was right. Most effective way to ensure someone stayed quiet was to have them killed. However, there could be other alternatives to consider. Such a decision couldn't be taken lightly, because whatever I decided, I couldn't afford to regret it. Okay. So we have options and the costs. Let's see, have them killed, we'll pretend they were collateral damage of the assassin. I'm sorry, Alexander, but we cannot afford to take any risks. Ensure their loyalty by promising them a much better position once I'm crowned, even if they were really tempted to talk about what happened. This should be enough motivation to ensure their allegiance. It says it costs like 2, but like, is it exactly 2 or what? When you explain to them that they mustn't say a word, give them a few coins and promise them more once the secret has been revealed. And in the meantime, send them on vacation far away from here. That should be enough to guarantee their silence. Well, I have the most here. So... I'm trying to think of, like, a cost standpoint. Like, what can I afford to get rid of, basically? I think that's how I'm gonna go forward with, like, most of my choices. Okay, so this is what they mean by, like, infinite resources, I'm guessing. Because as you can see, I have, like, 999. And I did get, like, a bonus in, like, the army. So, alright. I see how the resources are going. So, yeah. Choose to kill someone to solve a problem. Murder solves everything achievement. I mean... I guess. I don't know. Maybe back then, I guess. It was a heavy decision, and I felt so nauseous I discreetly leaned on the column of my canopy bed. I knew the responsibilities of an empress would lead me to difficult choices, but I never thought I'd face them so quickly. Alexander straightened up and bowed. His eyes settled on Alexander, betraying his doubts that the general would be able to fulfill his duties. If violence doesn't solve your problem, you're not using enough of it. That's so... No, I'm kidding. Guys, I just want to say... Murder does not solve your issues. Violence does not solve your issues either. So don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, I would have done the one that cost money, but like I said, I had a lot more in the army, so I was like, I can afford that. Oh my god, why does my voice keep fucking up? All this goddamn phlegm in my throat. But yeah, I'm pretty sure if I was like playing normally, obviously we wouldn't have that much. And I probably still would have picked the same thing. Purely because, again, that's how much I had. The most of. I think that's how I'd like probably end up playing this game. Choosing options where I have the most in. Unless it's like something like really that I feel really strongly about. But yeah, otherwise I'll just do it that way. No, it's just that it's your men and you know, you have an attachment to them. Exactly. This is about your men, even your friends. It's not just random enemies. As bitter as his words sounded, his determination was unwavering, and I nodded. I trust you, Alexander, and I'm truly sorry to have to ask you that. Without further ado, he bowed once more and left the room with a heavy step. Alden seemed to be lost in thought for a moment, giving me time to come to my senses before he bowed down in turn. I nodded, aware of our lead spy's discretion as well as his efficiency. Once more, I nodded in approval, glad to be offered a little interlude that would allow me to gather my thoughts. And she dressed decently while I was at it. After all, even if the coronation hadn't taken place yet, deep within me, I knew it. I felt it. I was the Empress. Hee. Chapter 1, Long Live the Empress. Spring, day 8 morning. The sun had now been up for a few hours, promising a beautiful day, but I knew I wouldn't be able to appreciate it. Now that the rush of adrenaline from the news had passed, all I had left were doubts on the days to come, which were going to be exhilarating as much as terrifying. Oh, so this is like some days after, I guess, when we finally got our shit together. We're like, oh, he's not feeling well, and then it's like, oh no, he's been killed. I was gambling my future along with, Kalidia's, and that was a big deal. Kalidia. Okay, Kalidia, I think that's what it is. I think. I'd spent the past few hours readying myself and refining the details of my plan to appease my latent nervousness as best as I could. But that didn't help me shake off my main preoccupation: the servants. I wasn't proud of the decision I had made, but I didn't regret it. All that was left was to hope things had gone smoothly. Otherwise, it would make an already complicated situation even stickier. I was restless when I heard the knock, and leapt to the door, opening it for Alden and letting him in. I hadn't seen that he was accompanied by the Master of Murmurs, who came in after him. A slight discomfort washed over me. His role inside the palace was vital, but since I was a child, I had been terrified of his hidden face and the mysterious aura that surrounded him. Nevertheless, my discomfort turned into amazement when I saw him remove his hood as if it were nothing and turn to face me. My brain had pictured the worst for years, and it was very unsettling to finally be able to put a face to that man. However, I realized he wasn't as monstrous as I had imagined. In fact, I was so shocked that it made me forget the reason for my visitor's presence, which seemed to greatly amuse the Master of Murmurs. You're not hideous! Oh, it's just I didn't know you could show your face. I see. Though it was disconcerting, it was also rather reassuring to see that a man as important as the Master of Murmurs already acknowledged me as his sovereign. Alden cleared his throat to recall me to my duty, and I suddenly remembered the reason for the two men's presence, which immediately made my anxiety flare up. To keep myself from staring at the Master Spy, I faced the advisor and fully focused on him. Did everything go well? My worry was as obvious as my guilt, but he gave me a reassuring smile. The Master of Murmurs slowly nodded in assent. I lifted my eyes to my advisors and flashed Alden a reassuring smile. Clearly, he read my emotions better than I had thought, and I couldn't allow myself to visibly waver at such a critical time. I know that, and what's done is done. Now we must focus on the future. Bring the High Priest to the council room. I need him to contract the Quadrator? Huh. Everyone likes to think the devout never lie, but one doesn't obtain a place like his without cheating a little. True. True. Especially in times like these. I admit that the idea of lying to him came to me for a fleeting moment, but to fool him would be a complex task, and I'll be needing his support when the time comes. The people put great stock in men of faith. Yes, thank you. Afternoon. Yes, thank you for coming, Robert. I gestured for him to sit down while I settled behind my father's imposing desk. Like I had predicted, my behavior made him lift a curious brow, but I pretended not to notice it. I won't beat around the bush. My father, the Emperor, died during the night. Clearly, we had done a pretty good job at keeping that a secret since the shock on his face seemed genuine. I tried to appease him with a wave of my hand, inviting him to sit back down, since he looked like he was about to get up. He was murdered. For the time being, we're keeping his death a secret so we can investigate without causing any sort of panic. It was the Master of Murmurs' idea. He's convinced he'll be able to find the assassin more easily this way. Drowning in information, the High Priest slumped into his chair and took in my half-truths. Well, I assumed a saddened expression. It truly is a tragic situation. Keeping quiet and hiding my mourning is a very hard task for me. I know it's a lot to ask of you, but you need to keep this a secret. I want to do everything in my power to uncover the murderer, especially since I'm scared he could come after me. Once more, I was quite proud of the quivers in my voice, and my acting seemed to be effective since I saw a spark of compassion light up in his eyes. With a closed expression on my face, I nodded, searching for the right words. The first and main reason I've summoned you here is so that I could confide in you and ask you to pray for my father's departed soul. My face still sad. I gave him a tight, grateful smile, but inside I felt relieved. His prayers should keep him busy enough that he wouldn't be tempted to reveal everything. Now I could move on to the true reason of his presence here. But before that, this saddens me, but I have another favor to ask of you. Well, Alden and I are afraid that all the upstarts across the kingdom will rush to the castle to try and usurp the throne as soon as my father's death is made public. Adds in a minute. In their greed, many forget that my line sits on the throne by the grace of the Four, So I'd like to send a letter to the Quadrator and have him support my coronation, as well as reaffirm my legitimacy. Once more he stays silent, and I tried to hide my worry behind a veil of sadness. I hated that my plans depended on a single person, but I didn't have a choice. Only rulers and high priests could hope to quickly reach the ultimate leader of the Cardinals, and I technically wasn't Empress yet. I felt my body tense up at his words, and it took all I had to conceal how irritated I was by this reminder. I knew I would be told such things. I had mentally prepared myself for it, but obviously, it hadn't been enough. Ads! No! What's the Ekri buffer for? What, why are you buffering? What happened? Sorry, give me 1 second. Buffering while waiting for ads. Fair enough. Wait, how much is that? 79? Oh no, I have to math. Fuck. Okay, so I just need 6 more. Um. 1, 2, 2. Okay, wait, let me. Okay, 2 more, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. I can't help it. I just say things. Tomorrow is tomorrow. Okay, let's continue. It's an issue, yes, and I'll do my best to find a fitting husband quickly. But you'll agree that I cannot entrust the throne of Khalida. Khalidia? Oh god. Khalidia to just anyone. I have plenty of suitors, but I need some time to study each and every one of them. It's not something that can be done in just a couple of days or even weeks. In the meantime, we do need someone to lead the country and make sure it doesn't sink into chaos. And if a regent were to be appointed, I'm afraid he might refuse to give the throne back to me and my husband, which would lead the whole country to a bloodbath. No one wants to see another era of murderous plots, like during Magnus the Third's time. Satisfied, I let out a sigh of relief. Thank you for your support, High Priest Robert. It means a lot to me. Swiftly, I opened one of the desk drawers and pulled out a thin sealed letter. While I was waiting for you, I humbly wrote a few words destined for the Quadrator. We've never met, and I hope this would help him get to know me a little, as well as reassure him of my faith in the Four. I was thinking that, perhaps, you would be so kind as to add it to your own correspondence. Once more, he seemed to be caught off guard, but he smiled instantly and enthusiastically. Relieved, I gave him the letter in question, while thanking him once more for his support and his help in these unprecedented times. Well, unprecedented. Yeah. I forgot the id part. I only hoped he didn't have the audacity to break the seal, because even if it did contain a few cliches on my virtues, the letter mostly made promises that could actually motivate the Quadrator. Oh, it did? Oh, okay. Okay, so it is that many. So, when it said 2, it literally meant like 2. I knew that gold made the world go round, and so I promised a hefty donation to the Great Temple of Meridian. Knowing his taste for luxury, I knew he wouldn't be insensitive to a few more riches. Or I knew that he had a close bond with his nephew, a knight who had contracted a debt of honor towards my father, and who had been serving him for many years as repayment. Even if he was a considerable asset to our army, I had promised that once I'd be made empress, I would free him from his oath so he could go back to Meridian. I'll just give him some money. We could still use this kid as a bargaining chip. I play dirty, y'all. To play with a man as powerful as the Quadrator, And I wasn't talking about his possible connection to the gods, but his actual wordly power. It was a risky move, but it was all worth it. The dice had been cast. I could only hope for things to go well and prepare for the field for my conquest of the Kilidian nobility. Evening. Despite my desire to act, for the time being I couldn't do anything but wait for the Quadrator's answer. Even if the letter had left that very morning, Meridian was far away, and I knew I couldn't hope for an answer for at least 3 days. I had to chomp at the bit and act naive. My first thought was to mingle with the court so I could clear my head, but then, pretending that nothing was up and feeding rumors to justify my father's absence was more frustrating than doing nothing. Even Marjorie's presence irritated me. Despite her advanced age, as soon as she turned her inquisitive eyes onto me, I had the impression she managed to perceive the truth. So, I had taken refuge in the library, hoping to read a little. But in all honesty, even if I managed to unscramble a few words, my thoughts were far away, and my mind was replaying the events of the previous night, asking myself again and again if I had done the right thing. Surprised, I lifted my eyes and met Alexander's. Worry overtook me at once when I saw how somber his expression was. Despite my urgent need to know what was going on, I gently placed the book on my knees to show him that he had my full attention and looked at him with composure. My mind searched the immense pool of names I knew, but no recently deceased nobleman with that surname came to mind. I was usually pretty up to date on this sort of thing, but given the situation, it wasn't impossible I'd missed something. Who is, or rather, was this Erwan? He said it with perfect neutrality, but the violence of his words felt like a punch to the stomach. For a second, I felt my expression falter from the shame of not knowing that name, as well as the worry that someone might have listened in. But Alexander wasn't a fool. A quick glance around the library reassured me there was no one there but the two of us. Sheepishly, I lowered my eyes while I gathered the courage to face what was about to come. As Empress, I had prepared myself to sacrifice lives for the good of my kingdom from time to time, even innocent lives. But it was a lot easier when they were just vague job titles in my mind, not people with names and a wife. What did she want? Despite my best efforts, I hadn't managed to get my emotions fully under control, but I knew I could allow myself that kind of weakness in front of him. Especially since he shared my sadness and my guilt. On top of my guilt, a dull anxiety washed over me. Alexander wasn't an idiot, but the need to relieve his conscience of my crime must have been strong. Alexander... His revelation relieved me for an instant, before the weight of my sin grew even heavier. A name, a wife, and a child soon to be. But I didn't have the time to linger on my feelings. If Alexander had come to me with such a worried face, that must have meant there was more to it. You did well, it's a good excuse, and it's not a complete lie either. In a way, he died for the good of... Kalidia. I swear, I keep getting tripped up even though I keep saying it over and over. Alexander nodded solemnly. admit, I was not familiar with that kind of steward's considerations at all, but it made sense. You've done well, it's the least I could do. I'll pay. He seemed relieved, and for an instant I wondered if he had come up with that excuse on purpose, so that the widow would have an additional nest egg. In any case, it was the best thing to do. I would gain nothing from knowing whether he had or had not thought that far. Before leaving the room, he gave me a look filled with adoration, which only served to reinforce my guilt. Even if things hadn't gone exactly as planned, I could be reassured that nothing serious had happened, and hoped that this would last until the Quadrator replied. We skipped 2 days, nice. I mean, one can always learn more. Honestly, I believe in taxing everybody fairly, but maybe the wealthy a little bit more. But generally, I feel people should be taxed equally. Then again, if you do equally, people who don't have enough and have to pay like, let's say like you have to like pay like 10 gold coins. And then the people who like only make like 5 gold coins, up until like tax paying time, they'll be screwed. So there's that issue. I guess it'd be more like, how to do it. I guess tax each bracket within reasonable range. So like I said, like the people who only make like 5 gold coins, they obviously can't afford the 10 gold coins. So you'd probably do like 3, 2, 3. So it's like you still get something, but they also have something. It's tricky. Story alternates with phases of gameplay, which are triggered between 2 scenes. During these phases, you will be able, among other things, to modify your kingdom's general policies. Gains will be distributed at the end of the gameplay phase. See? Yes, even if it's all very theoretical. Even if I'll only be doing this work after my coronation, may I try my hand at it now? I'm sure there are things that I'd like to change in my father's policies. Okay, so taxes. People will understand and you'll receive a moderate amount of money. What do we do with high? People are like, no, fuck you. People will be angry, but money will flow endlessly. People will be happy, but your own little money. Let's see, economy. Your economy will be focused on the exploitation of raw resources. Your focus on craftsmanship. You will focus on craftsmanship, especially luxury items. Your economy will be focused on agriculture and food production. Fuck the nobility. So I don't even get like a lot of goods from that, but I also get money. Huh. Okay, offerings. You will help finance a good part of the temple's academies across the realm. Okay, the people don't like that. You'll help finance the majority of the temple's academies across the realm. Okay, so that's the thing. It's like, if we're gonna be doing this, we need to make, like, more money. Which means we need to do this. Which means we have to favor the fucking nobility. Um... I don't think I really need anything for the art. Because like I said, I have infinite resources right now. So, I don't think any of this really matters right now. We'll be fine. Let's see, trade. Control trade. Nah, I'll do controlled. Let's see, you will send at least one ambassador to each neighboring country. You will only send ambassadors and diplomats when necessary. You will send full delegation to all neighboring countries. I love that I like just break even here. They said you don't gain anything. Hmm. But yeah, I think what I need most right now is to get the people and nobility up. And that's a resource that you don't get infinite of, apparently. Well, the people will always matter more to me, I suppose. Alright. I got plus 10 people. Dawn had barely risen when I heard a kerfuffle at the door, and I immediately recognized Robert's voice. I got up with a groan and quickly slipped on a dress, trying to make myself presentable before opening the door. High Priest, what's going on? I tried to remain as neutral as possible, but I was burning up with a mix of anxiety and excitement, because I had a solid guess as to what this was about. Nervous, he handed me 2 letters, bearing the recognizable seal of His Holiness. Exhilarated, I looked at the 2 pieces of paper that were about to seal my future. One seemed official, while the other was explicitly for my eyes only. I would have liked to be alone when reading them both, but clearly it had taken Robert all he had not to break the wax seal on the official letter, and he now stared at me impatiently. My throat was dry as I grabbed the paper cutter to open the correspondence, and my heart was beating so fast I had the impression everyone in the room could hear it. Lady Petty, I'm not even gonna read that. Nope. That's way too much. The 4 have spoken and have recognized you as the legitimate heir of the crown of Khalidya. Khalidya, by virtue of your blood and despite your gender. By this decree I convey the word of the gods. May your governance be respected by all the just and the pious. May your rule prosper and never stray from the Four's faith. Man! Vermeer? Quadrator by the grace of the 4. Is that Vermeer? I can't tell. Man, write your name clearer. I can read script, but not like that. I was shaking so hard I felt my legs give in, and I had to sit on my bed so I didn't fall over. I had done everything in my power to make this moment happen, and now that it was upon me, I was engulfed by all the emotions I had accumulated in the past week. Robert seemed to understand me, and he bowed to leave me for a few long seconds so I could take in the Quadrator's words. Finally, he spoke up. Almost timidly, I nodded and tried to recover my usual composure. With the Quadrator's support, my coronation was sure to happen, but that didn't mean I was rid of enemies or other contenders. I couldn't let my guard down yet. Yes, the time has come for everyone to know the truth. Gather the nobles in the castle at dawn and prepare the pigeons. The pigeons! He nodded, a grave expression on his face. It was true that his absence had been going on for a while, and a possible illness worried people just as much as a possible death. It was fortunate that these letters hadn't taken too long to arrive. I'll be there. I need to finish getting ready. I approved with a polite nod, and soon I watched him leave and close the door. Finally on my own, I collapsed on the bed and let myself gloat. I whooped in pure childish joy as I read the Quadrator's letter over and over again. I knew that I had plenty of challenges ahead of me, but this was my first victory against traditions, and I intended to savor it for as long as I could. Only after a few long minutes had passed did I decide to open the second letter, which was addressed to me personally. Lady Petty, thank you for your generous donation to Meridian's Great Temple. Please know that I never forget my friends. I'm sure we'll get along marvelously. That's it. Happy with my decision, I sighed and carefully put the letter away into my desk. Pretty promises were easy to forget. I could perhaps use the parchment to remind him of his support one day, or to show to some reluctant noble just how popular I was with the one of the most powerful men on the continent. In any case, I believed that my actions had managed to sway him, and I was quite proud of that. Now it was the court I had to sway, and I knew this wasn't going to be an easy task. It's been 8 days? Damn! We just jumped. I had left the door open, and although I hadn't heard Marjorie come over to me, I wasn't surprised since her perfume, which she applied too liberally, had filled the room. I almost felt nostalgic for a moment. Contrary to what she seemed to suggest, I wasn't here for pleasure. I was overwhelmed. Invitations, solicitations, promises. I'd spent the last 3 days flattering Hylian nobility to ensure that nothing would interfere with the coronation in 3 weeks' time, and I still had a lot to do. Oh, perhaps you can fool everyone else, but I know you're far from being an old lady, Marjorie. My reply made her laugh, a hoarse and joyous sound that belied what I had just said. Put my quill down with a sigh and closed the inkwell, hoping its content would not dry out. She had taught me many things, and even if I had grown stronger than her in a few areas, it was obvious that she still used guilt like no one else. She almost made me feel bad for hiding my father's death from her. You know full well I didn't have a choice. The information had to be disclosed to as few people as possible. No, they weren't indeed. As promised, I quietly walked by Marjorie's side through the garden, but we couldn't take one step before some servant or noble offered me their condolences. I'm so tired of pretending to be sad. She paused, looking at me as she seemed to hesitate to say something. I looked at her, intrigued. There was so much contempt in her voice when she spoke of his flaws that she obviously knew something about him. Something I probably didn't. And I sensed from her a tone that I'd get nothing more from her, at least not today, and I didn't insist, tripping myself once again in my indignity. No, that's too easy. You can't just die and expect that all your mistakes will be forgiven. That's true, though. That is true. Man. And so, it doesn't change anything. She sighed, and I decided to change the subject before I had to listen to another lecture on the importance of family bonds. But since we're speaking of forgiveness, I need your help. Suspicious, she frowned, although she kept walking calmly between the flower beds. I would like it if you gave me Fear Castle? Pretending to admire some insects that were flying around the planters, hesitated for a second. I needed the fortress to buy the Faram's loyalty, but Mejuri held a deep hatred for them. I didn't like lying to her, but I couldn't run the risk that she'd refuse my request. I'll be honest, even if she don't like it. I need it because I'm going to give it back to the Faram. Upon hearing my words, Mejuri froze, trembling with anger. I knew she would react that way. Even though the war had ended about 20 years ago, she still bore painful memories of it. Yes, I know all that, but it all took place before my birth. It's time we move forward and reconcile with the Faram, lest we repeat the mistakes of the past. I don't want another Faram revolt under my rule. I need their support for my coronation, and to obtain that support, I need Fear Castle. You know just as well as I do that it's only a ruin now, an old pile of rubble left on steep and barren land. It's nothing more than a symbol. My old aunt grumbled for a few long minutes, but she was forced to concede my point even if it cost her. Thank you, Mejuri. I know I could count on you. Relieved, I finally let out the breath I hadn't realized I had been holding. Knowing the affection Mejuri held for me, I knew that I'd end up convincing her. But as I had a meeting with the Faram heir in 4 days, I didn't have a lot of room for errors. With one less issue weighing on my heart, I continued my walk with a bounce in my step, forgetting for a few moments the court's problems and plots. Oh my god, we skipped more days. This is my first time ever meeting Theodore Faram. I had heard him described as a cold and distant man, but I still didn't expect him to be so glacial. I waited for him to deign reply to my greeting as courtesy demanded, but the silence between us was deafening. He only stood there staring at me, impassive, without even so much as a good morning or a nice to meet you, while I had to keep smiling not to lose face. I had better things to do than engage in a staring contest. Consequently, I swallowed my pride and gestured to one of the chairs around the staff table, where a large map of Kalidia had been laid out. I imagine you must be tired after such a long trip. Please sit down. I thought he was going to stay standing there, but he did finally sit down without another word, while I took a seat not too far from him. Like I said in my letter, I'd like for the Ternfell and the Faram to reconcile. The tensions between our two families have lasted long enough, and... coming as he was from a lineage with a somewhat barbaric reputation, he had done a fairly clever analysis of the situation, but I didn't let that stop me. Very much need is a bit strong. Should I remind you that I have the support of the Order and by extension the Four? People will follow me. That said, I do wish for my coronation to go as smoothly as possible, and the rest of my rule as well. I'd like to avoid bloodshed altogether if possible. And I fear that the ancestral enmity between our two families might lead us to just that. Neither you nor I were born when the Faram revolt took place. It's up to us to decide if we want to perpetuate this cycle of conflict, or if we want to build something new. He took on a thoughtful expression and observed me with renewed interest. Precisely. Wouldn't it be easier for you to forget as well, especially if it's been haunting you for that long? He was following me exactly where I was leading, and it took me some effort to repress a smile and keep a business-like countenance. Firstly, I'm not the same person as my father or my grandfather. It's unfair to distrust me as a result of their actions. And secondly, I'm ready to make a gesture of goodwill, if the Faram are ready to make one as well. Wait, maybe it's Faram. Yeah, it might be Faram. If you openly support my ascent to the throne, I'm ready to return your family the Fear Castle, Citadel, and the lands that go with it. This time I savored the true surprise in his eyes when I handed him the deed I had taken the time to prepare. As you know, it was confiscated after the revolt, since it's located at a strategic crossroads between Terranfell and Montilet. Yeah, Montilet. Montilet, I think. I thought it would be a strong gesture to return it to you, but also quite a symbol of trust. After glancing over the signed pledge, Theodore looked at me once more, with defiance this time. I was already basking in my victory when he continued, his voice cold. In the end, his analysis of the situation, or indeed of my character, wasn't as clever as I had thought. I was ambitious, there was no denying that. I wasn't shy about it either. My desire to make peace was just as sincere. Stay at the castle if you wish. Dukes are welcome here at any time. But you'll get eaten alive by the court if you always speak your mind so plainly, my lord. He shrugged condescendingly before getting up. No one liked being called a snake, but even if it was unpleasant to be treated with such hostility by someone to whom I had never done anything, I had gotten what I wanted. I didn't wish to risk making him change his mind by starting an argument. Time will tell. I do hope you'll change your mind about me, but as long as the Faram uphold their end of the bargain, you're free to think whatever you like. And in order to keep me from having the last word of our pointless sparring, he immediately turned on his heel and slammed the door. Furious, I was engaged in deep breathing exercises when Alden walked in. I shrugged with a sigh. I suppose it was alright. At least the Faram should support my coronation. That's all that matters. How about you? Did you manage to convince Leon? I raised my eyes to the sky, not hiding my exasperation at these words, as if it were enough for a woman to lead the empire for us to become a matriarchy. Have you at least convinced him not to openly oppose the coronation? Was that enough? Treasurer? Look at him go. Upset, I bit my lips while I pondered the implications of such a nomination. I didn't want him to stand in my way at every council meeting, but there was no valid reason for me to refuse him this privilege either. Imagine before asking for that position, he encouraged the current treasurer to retire. Imagine we don't have a choice then. I'll summon Leon tomorrow and pretend to be a naive ingenue who's happy to let him take on big responsibilities. I sighed heavily and Alden stepped towards me with a discreetly amused smile. Manage? I sighed, offering him a reassuring smile. It would not be fun having tea with such a conservative man, but there was something insurmountable about it. Oh, don't worry about me. I can play dumb when I need to. I spent my whole life appearing less dangerous than I really am. I should be able to pretend just this once. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to go get more water. I'm like out. Wake! Oh, where did I leave off? Oh, he might have some nasty surprises down the line, however. He nodded with a gleam of pride in his eyes. My respects, Empress of Calidia. I wish to write to you so I could congratulate you on your recent nomination to the throne, as well as offer my condolences for your father's death. Assuming power is a heavy responsibility, but I have been told that you are very capable, and I know that Calidia is in good hands. Calidia and Assyria have always maintained solid diplomatic relations. I hope that they will continue, nay, prosper under your rule. Up until now, the matriarchs have always been opposed to non-commercial negotiations, but your nomination has made them curious. We dare to believe that in your presence, my emissaries and myself will cease to be subjected to the patronizing condensation that your predecessors I can read, I swear, invariably displayed, and that made my country's past rulers so wary of further interactions. The gods whisper to me that your ascension to the throne signals the dawn of a new era for the continent. Therefore, I wish to support you as much as I can. With the matriarch's assent, I have decided to mandate an emissary whose role it will be to liaise between our two nations. Her name is Asha Isabis. She is an exceptional woman who I hope will be welcomed into your palace as she deserves. Streamer not editor. With all my sympathy, May, the Queen of Assyria. Of course I'm not illiterate. I can't enjoy visual novels the way I do if I'm illiterate. Oh, I was trying to figure out why my hoodie looks so dirty. It was probably because of like all the fucking stuff that came off of like all the other clothes. Oh, ready to hear. Anyways, that's wonderful news. I'll need I'll need as many allies as possible during my rule. I know diplomacy is not available. I know it's not. Day 36, the afternoon. Weekday had finally come. Impatient and nervous, I paced my bedroom while checking my hair and my outfit for the upteenth time. Nothing was easy as per usual. I was supposed to display poise, elegance, and grandeur, all while remaining humble. Alright then. Despite all that, I felt ready and dignified, and I only waited to hear from Alexander, who would escort me since my father wasn't in the state. They didn't have to include that. Since my father wasn't in a state to do so. You could have just said since my father couldn't. All you had to say. Time was passing by at an infuriatingly slow pace when finally he knocked and walked into the room, clad in his ceremonial attire. The armor and the pompous cape that went with it didn't suit him, and I suppressed a smile when I saw him squeezed into it. Almost timidly, I nodded while he politely bowed to let me pass in front of him. Then he followed suit, respectfully walking one step behind. I closed my eyes and savored this title that I was hearing for the last time. When the herald would announce me next, I would be Empress of Calydia. I didn't remember ever having seen the throne room this packed. Clearly, when I had been told that the entire castle had gathered here, it had been an exaggeration. He's in the corner. There's somebody behind her. Oh, is that the Asha girl? To try and hide my nervousness, I walked at a slow pace, my head held high, my eyes leveled at the throne. But my curiosity slowly got the better of me, and while I tried to remain as dignified as I could, I let my gaze wander discreetly in search of familiar faces. Alden, of course, stood right next to my throne, his face impassive, but his eyes bright enough that I could see the pride reflected in them. Robert was there too, my future crown already held in his hands. He did his best to appear as imposing as his function required him to be. In the noble section, I recognized Leon of Voildor, surrounded by his family, conversing with other nobles who were vaguely familiar with me. Familiar with me. To me! That's what that says, to me. I was surprised I also spotted Theodore leaning against a pillar, his gloomy aura seeming to hold people at bay so that he wasn't drowning in unknown faces. As I passed by her, Marjorie gave me a smile, and I felt her perfume reach me, calming me despite its loud scent. Finally, the last step stretched before me, and I suddenly realized that I couldn't hear the crowd's hubbub anymore. The only sound was my heart beating in my temples. Ceremoniously, I knelt in front of this throne that was still forbidden to me. Soon, I had cause to praise whomever had the brilliant idea to place a small cushion under my knees. The blessings were proceeding at an infuriatingly slow pace. Ugh. I listened to them with only half an ear, but I still displayed my most serious and focused face to honor the solemnity of the ceremony. The day before, Robert had asked me if I wanted to celebrate tradition by taking the name of one of my predecessors, or if I'd rather start my own dynasty. My own dynasty? Oh, fuck my ancestors. Your reign name will be Miss... No. I can't even read it. I understood the importance of traditions, but I was much too proud of who I was to give up my name, my identity. I wanted to carry it with pride for as long as I would rule. I didn't know the ceremony by heart, but I knew it would soon be ending, since the whole place seemed to grow livelier. With each passing second, both the crowd and Robert's voice vibrated with renewed excitement until the key moment came. I closed my eyes and braced myself for the weight of the surprisingly light crown that he delicately placed upon my head. Slowly, I rose, and turned around to sit on the throne that had been meant for me. Then I opened my eyes to look at the crowd. It suddenly went quiet, and an almost religious silence settled in for a few seconds. Okay, damn. Long live Empress Petty the First. I guess some people will be named after me in the future, huh? Alexander's voice resounded next to me, oddly loud, as it shattered this almost dreamlike moment. Cheers arose from all sides in a spectacular chaos. The general enthusiasm was contagious, and I caught myself smiling and waving at the crowd with a bit too much vigor. Evening time. Party was in full swing, and if I was still beaming, my head was starting to hurt with the incessant solicitations of people come to pay their respects. Maybe I had too much wine. If I was being honest, I couldn't remember how many times my glass had been refilled, but one thing I knew, it had never stayed empty. Even if Marjorie was probably right, I pouted. Come on, Marjorie. Am I not allowed to have a bit of fun? It is my coronation day after all. She shook her head with a tender smile. She was right, and I knew it. I had let myself relax perhaps a bit too much, carried away by my enthusiasm. That acknowledgement didn't stop me from heaving a deep sigh of despair. Her face sparkled with pride and affection, and I felt my heart melt under her praise. Her opinion had always mattered a lot to me, and I felt myself go back to the little girl I once was, who always sought her approval. That soon. I hesitated for an instant, but finally, I let myself gently hug her, making sure not to spill my glass on her in the process. Thank you, Marjorie. Thank you for everything. She kindly stroked my hair, and I stayed in her embrace for a few moments, just long enough to regain control of my emotions, which were threatening to make me cry. She gently patted my back to remind me of my duties, and I finally let go of her, my face now wearing a more neutral expression. She was right. As much as they tried to hide it, many people stood nearby, waiting for an opportunity to pounce on me as soon as I'd be free. The quickest to the mark was a young woman I had never seen before. One look at the pretty dreadlocks she sported, decorated with small golden jewels, told me her background. Oh, and there go the ads. No ads! Brr. Sorry. Sorry. I didn't think that'd be captured on audio. Sorry. Her melodious accent convinced me I was right, and I flashed her a courteous smile. Thank you, Lady Asha, are you not? She seemed surprised for a second, then her face lit up. She gave a small laugh as if to brush off this pleasantry, which I knew had a much deeper meaning. After all, I had indeed heard a lot about her, both from Queen Maeva, who had warmly recommended her to me, and from Robert, who had tried to paint her as an ungodly heathen and temptress the minute she had set foot in the capital. Of course, your queen keeps showering you with praise. Her familiar way of talking about her ruler made me quirk an eyebrow, but I didn't mention it. After all, Syrian customs were much different from ours, and her relationship with her queen was none of my concern. As long as she didn't use the same casual tone while talking about Khalidian nobility, it would be no issue. In any case, I do hope Khalidia is to your liking, Lady Asha. She gave me a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes, which made me see that her answer was an elegant way to not speak ill of the place without lying. Now that it was my castle and my nation, it did upset me a little, but I couldn't be mad at her for finding the place a bit drab. My father never had a keen eye for interior design. Oh, sorry, I did not mean to have that little ASMR bit. I'm sorry if you did not enjoy me blowing in your ear. I was about to ask her more futile questions when Robert stepped into the space between us. The gesture was overtly rude, but his position allowed him to act in that manner, and I turned away from Asha to listen to what he had to say. He barely hid the dirty look he gave Asha. She understood the message and gracefully curtsied. I mentally took note of where to find her if I wanted to continue the conversation, and bowed to her in lieu of goodbye. Then I focused my attention on Robert, wondering with some trepidation if something bad had happened. What's going on? I had to hold back a sigh. It was quite distressing to see him go to such trouble only to interrupt my conversation with a foreign dignitary. Please be comforted. She wasn't inviting me to dance naked in the sea in honor of the snake goddess Sif. I said that in a playful tone, hoping to lighten the mood, but he looked even more upset. I didn't have the patience to hear more of this, and I took an offended expression. Right, I wasn't really religious, but that wasn't the point. Even if I had my doubts about the real existence of the gods, I knew the influence of the order and how powerful religion was in general. Unlike Alexander, I couldn't afford to openly proclaim my doubts or let anyone assume that I wasn't a good believer. Fortunately, I was very good at pretending to be offended. Do you believe my faith could be so easily shaken, High Priest? Taken aback, he immediately softened and apologized profusely. I relaxed in turn. I'm taking note of your worries, and I promise I'll be careful. But you must also understand that you simply cannot say such things about a foreign guest, especially not in public. This could have serious diplomatic consequences. He scowled once more but didn't say a word, politely bowing instead. A short silence passed between us before he turned away, mumbling something about prayers he had to make. For the first time of the night, I found myself alone. and no one came to talk to me, perhaps for fear of getting caught in the fallout from this tense conversation. I enjoyed that respite and decided to go talk to... Do I have to talk to these people? Can't I like just go talk to like Majorie or something? You know what, since like I said, since I don't really feel strongly about any of them, maybe I'll just like flip a coin. Like coin flip. And then we'll just start from like Theodore Alexander. Yeah, we'll just do that. Okay, first we have Alexander. And then we got Theodore. Alright, it's a 1-1. Who's gonna win? Theodore won, okay. So now it's between Theodore and Asha. I guess I'll like flip the sides. I'll put Asha on top. And then Theodore for tails. Alrighty. Okay, so Asha got a point. Okay, I guess we're going to Asha. Like I said, I really don't have a strong preference. So. I was very aware of how ironic it felt to meet up with Asha to continue our conversation. Robert's words buried deep in a deep dark corner of my mind, as if they had never existed in the first place. Like she had mentioned, she was enjoying the fresh breeze in the gardens, and I had no trouble finding her. She was leaning against the balustrade of a gazebo. Casually, I came closer, and I leaned next to her, admiring the stars. I'm terribly sorry for that rude interruption, but one can't keep the gods waiting, as the saying goes. The little phrase was supposed to lighten the mood, but Asha gave me an indecipherable look that piqued my curiosity. You mean the fact that we have different gods? To my great surprise, she shook her head, making her hair dance around her. Really, I wasn't expecting that line of thinking, and my mind, fogged up as it was by alcohol, didn't help me find convincing arguments. That irritated me quite a bit, as I always dislike not having the final word. Asha must have mistaken the nature of my contrariety, and she flashed me her most beautifully contrite smile. I usually wasn't one for small talk, but I couldn't get enough of her melodious accent, which emphasized her impeccable pronunciation. Almost by instinct, I swirled the contents of my wine glass, which I had been foolishly holding, untouched, since Majorie had warned me. At least this time it allowed me to get to know my interlocutor? I've never seen that word before, or heard of it. Oh my god. I'm learning new words today. You're right, it is good. It's of Assyrian import, isn't it? She swirled the wine around in her own glass, her gesture practiced and skillful. Before taking a little sip, her eyes closed. Half doubtful, half impressed, I didn't hide my surprise. You can tell where it's from just like that. Once more, I looked at her, intrigued and impressed. You sail? Numerous superstitions made it so that Women were unwelcome on board of ships in Clydia, just like imagining her on the seas was breathtaking. How impressive! You look as young as me, and yet you seem to have led a much more eventful life. My reply seemed to surprise her, and she tilted her head to the side, making the metal beads in her hair chime. The title made me smile, almost despite myself, but it didn't entirely remove the melancholy from my voice. From today only? I could only guess the life that she had led, but I felt frustrated in comparison to have waited all these years in the shadows. All I had done was study and place the rare pawns at my disposal in the best way I could prepare my coronation. Without the stroke of luck that had ended my father's life prematurely, I could have waited much longer. Scholars always said he was as healthy as a horse. Solemnly, she held out her glass to invite me to toast and looked me in the eye. She seemed sincere, and somehow her words managed to lighten my heart, while our glasses clinked against one another. She was right. Holding on to the past was useless. I had to look to the future, now that I truly had the power to change it. And I'm glad to have you by my side as well, Asha. I hope that the bonds between Assyria and Clydia will be strengthened thanks to your presence. There was a short silence while we sized each other up, and happily recognized in each other the same wit and same strength of character. Finally, she lifted the glass to her lips and drained it with essential sort of elegance. I set aside Marjorie's advice for a second and followed suit. This party was, after all, held in my honor, and I wanted to savor a good glass of wine in good company under the stars. And you know what? I think that's a good stopping point. So we finally got to the coronation. We got to see a little bit of the stuff we gotta deal with. Let's see. Let me just take a look at the Steam page. I just want to see if there's other gameplay features. I think that might be the only one though. Maybe we could... Oh, okay. So we have another gameplay feature here. Okay, we might as well do this and then we'll end. So this is petitions. All this is very new to me. I won't say no to further explanations. Urgent affairs and current affairs. Okay, I mean obviously urgent affairs are urgent. That is true, yes. Happy people usually are more motivated to work. Yep. He took a moment to rummage through the items on the table before handing me a sealed parchment roll. Even if the crown— oh, this is from Alden, okay. Even if the crown is yours, I'd beware of your bastard brothers. For some, an illegitimate son is far better than a woman, and I wouldn't want the nobility to use this excuse so they can rid of you the first chance they get. I've tasked the Master of Murmurs with investigating them. At the moment, it seems that most of them live a modest life as craftsmen or servants, but the simplest minds can be the easiest to sway, especially since you haven't established any bond with them, which means that nothing will stop them from betraying you. I suggest dealing with the issue in a permanent way. This man really loves to kill people. He really loves to kill people. I'm starting to notice this. What if he's the one that had my dad assassinated? I'm starting to think he's the one who did it. I will not assassinate them. No. Let's see. The second one, as long as they haven't done anything to me, I refuse to let paranoia get the best of me and have them assassinated. However, I do recognize that my half-brothers are a threat, and I believe we should definitely keep an eye on them. Assign spies to each of them, and we'll decide how to react if they stop plotting against me. I refuse to become a tyrant like my father, and to let paranoia trap me in a spiral of violence. So I'll take the opposite approach. I'll make them happy, but should ensure that they don't have any desire to take my title from me or to cause me harm. Send someone to ask them what they want, and do your best to satisfy their wishes, but make sure they're aware of my role as their patron. Because I'm just thinking, like, if we do this, you know, to like ask them what they want, they'll be like, okay, yeah, I want this, and then they realize, oh, maybe we could ask more of her, and that'll become a problem later on, you know? Because they'll realize, oh, we can just like exploit her for stuff if it means like not interfering with like her rule and stuff like that. I'm out here trying to like play like fucking 4D chess right now. I think I'll just go with the second one. Your Grace, all our spies are in place, and for the moment they haven't noticed anything suspicious. I think they meant they. Following the first report, I've decided to set up increased surveillance around Aaron Vilas, who appears to be having a fling with the daughter of a local lord, and Yancine Le Cordonier, as he is at the Count of Vrois court. I'll keep you updated on the situation's evolution. Thank you. Okay. And so this is just basically the stuff I can do. Alright, so let's look at the other petitions. Your Grace, this hasn't come as a surprise, but rumors that you have had your father assassinated are starting to spread. Apparently, some letter you sent a few years ago to one of your tutors in which you poured out your hatred for your father is being circulated along with these accusations as proof of your evil doing. At the moment, we still do not know who's behind these rumors, especially since bards are spreading the information across the realm. What shall we do? That's a great question. Let's see. Oh, jeez. Let's see. Round up and lock up all the bards who spread these rumors, then find all copies of the letter and destroy them. No, because that'll just make me like a tyrant. That'll be like my father. The rumor's already making the rounds, we might as well use it to our advantage. I'll announce that I haven't murdered my father, but that I despised him, and that this hatred means that I wish for to be a very different ruler from what he was. Is a gift that has been presented to us by the Four. Everyone feared him, yet they didn't hate him. In this way, we should find support amongst those who criticized him. And then I wonder who could have started the rumor and obtained the letter. Send our agents to investigate my former tutor's old residence. Once we know who stole the letter, we can use the situation to our advantage and accuse the thief of having assassinated my father. And if we need further proof, we can always fabricate something. We can fabricate something. You know what? Fuck it. I want to know the truth. Who did it? Minus 15 people, but plus 15 nobility? Let's see. Our investigation has allowed us to trace the rumors back to the Lord Artem of Bazart. After we publicly attacked him, he responded by trying to start new rumors, but after getting tangled up in his lies, he ended up digging his own grave. The nobility was very appreciative of how subtly you navigated this complicated situation. The people are bored with what they are calling foolish ego quarrels. Well, it is what it is. Right, let's look at another petition. Your Highness, an important expedition is currently being set up. It will be led by the famous explorer. I really want to say Ohio, but it's not Ohio. Ohio. Okay, there we go. Smith, accompanied by two notable scholars, the naturalist Jean-Baptiste and the cartographer Johann. Their goal is to set sail for the far end of the Bellicose Ocean so that they can uncover whatever hides at the world's end. The scientific expedition will allow us to detail our maps and to research the fauna, the flora, and the geography of these new horizons. Scholars are very interested in this expedition, and many patrons have already contributed to it. That is why I humbly ask for your participation. Oh, this is from Robert. Okay. My options? To learn more about the world is a noble goal. Gladly contribute, as long as we're the first to hear whatever comes back. Scholars are interested in this expedition, they could pitch in as well. We'll fund half of it. We urge priests and scholars to fund the other half. Free! The free one is I don't plan on funding such an uncertain expedition when there are much safer investments to make. I'm guessing that's what you would pick if you didn't have money or religion. Okay. Sure, why not? Like I said, I have the unlimited resources right now, so. Your Grace, the expedition is up and ready to go. May Basan watch over them. Omens are good. I'm sure that the expedition will be a success. Okay. Do I get to know, like, the outcome of that? Or... Okay, but like I said, just wanted to go through that first. So, that's essentially what the gameplay will look like once you get through, like, all the coronation stuff. There'll probably also be the diplomacy thing, because like they said, the diplomacy is not in the demo. For whatever reason it may be, they're not finished with it. Maybe they were, and then they decide they want to fine-tune it. Whatever it may be. So, that's one thing we didn't get to try out, which is the diplomacy. But I'm looking forward to that part, because that may add a little bit more. Like I said, it didn't really feel like high stakes purely because we chose the story route. But yeah, I feel like I'd be more stressed if I did like the normal mode. Part of me kind of wishes maybe that I did, cause like I knew. Yeah, you know what? We can talk about regrets another day. I know the stream was short, but when it comes to the ones that I have to read a lot, I get tired quicker because it's like my lung capacity only goes so far. Because like back in the day, I could only do like an hour and a half, and now look at me, almost making it to like 3 hours by myself. Oh wait, nobody's on? Really? Oh no, I don't have anybody to raid. Fuck. Well, hold on, let me just check something real quick. Okay, yeah, I don't have anybody to raid. That's not good. Oh well. So, yeah, like I said, this is going to be the end of stream. Tomorrow we'll be continuing the Choose Wisely Festival, and we'll be doing Psycho Sleuth tomorrow, so we'll probably just finish up Psycho Sleuth. I genuinely don't know how much time we have left with Psycho Sleuth. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Because I remember I did play it, the menu? I don't even know why that's turned on. The fuck? Oh. Oh, yes, thank you. Because I was trying to find the main menu button. So yeah, like, we did start Psycho Sleuth, like, ages ago. So when I saw that it was, like, part of the Choose Wisely Festival, I was like, oh, great! Now I have, like, another excuse to play it again. Well, continue it. I mean, so far, with, what we've done for Psycho Sleuth, I know, I'm talking about a different game. I mean, technically, we're technically done with, Imperial Grace right now. So it should be fine. It should be fine. But yeah, it's like, so far, with what we've done, I mean, I guess technically it could be considered a choose wisely when you get into, like, the debate portion. Because obviously, if you fuck up too much, you lose. You gotta start over. So yeah, that's what we'll be playing tomorrow. We'll just be continuing it, basically. Because I think I stopped, like, in the middle of the second one. Yeah. But we didn't get that far in it. Alright, so yeah, let me stop rambling, because if I don't, I won't end stream for like another 5 minutes or so. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow for Psycho Sleuth. And then on Saturday, I hope to see you all there for Vampire Therapist. Because like I said, I mentioned it plenty of times before. And also did say it would be like a fun stream to have. Where we just like talk about like these little, what do they call them? I don't know like the best way to describe it. I wanted to say like isms, but I was like, no, maybe it's more like notions or something. Basic, I guess mindsets, Mindsets. And again, like I said, just going to once again stress that Vampire Therapist is not something you should use as like free therapy. Alright. Bye guys, bye! I'll be on the Discord as always. If you haven't joined the Discord, you should. !Discord. And, you know, follow me on my other socials as well. Twitter. I don't use Blue Sky as much as I used to. But still, follow me there as well. And don't forget to follow me on TikTok too. I think I have like the socials thing, right? Yep, so those are all my socials as well. Follow me there. And yeah, bye! Don't miss